Bam. Welcome to the first ever episode of Clash and Splash with you boys. Okay. I am Kenny D. You can follow me on Twitter at CoolStoryKennyD. The man above me is an underground legend, Dallas Dynamo himself, Class. Follow him on Twitter. I am Class. The top left here, the wrestling self-prescribed wrestling genius, that Cody Lee. And the Midwest misfit, all the way from Iowa, we got the homie Corey Stahl. You can follow him at Twitter at Corey Stahl. So, already getting the boost from Big Clizzle. I like it. So, boys, let's get right into it. We're always working with this Clash and Splash, this new thing that we're trying to work out. So here we're going to talk a lot of wrestling, pretty much almost any topics that we feel really worth talking about. And we're going to be getting our drink on, to that way we can loosen everything up and really just keep it going, right? So me personally, I'm sipping on some whiskey tonight, Balcones Lineage, right here from Texas. What about you boys? Class, what are you drinking on, brother?
In the nice Deep Ellum Brewery cup, I am simply drinking Jameson because it is one of my favorites. Irish whiskey, can't go wrong at any time.
I like Jameson. Cody, how about you,
That's
brother?
the custom Cody cups. I don't know if y'all can see that in there, but
Nice.
little Larceny, just a Kentucky bourbon. It's not good, not too bad. It's cheap, but it's pretty strong and not bad tasting either. Only $20 a bottle.
Good. And what about you, Corey? I bet I know. What are you drinking on?
You
Fireball,
already know, bro.
baby.
Bud Light Fireball, baby. Bud Light Fireball.
Keeping it classy in the Midwest.
Keeping
with the
it
Fireball.
so Midwest.
So Midwest.
Iowa
keeping
stuff,
it clear.
man.
I like it. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Everybody rocks the Fireball.
Drinking is drinking at all times.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're here. We got wrestling opinions and opinions that are going to clash. We're going to sip it down with a little splash. So the reason we are gathered here today is it is WrestleMania season, boys, and we are one pay-per-view away. And that pay-per-view this weekend is going to be FastLane 2021 coming up. Yeah, not a bad thing. It's always a good little setup going into WrestleMania. We can never go wrong with the lead-ins. We say that usually with WWE, right? But obviously we got to set ourselves up for disappointment because how often do we really listen to the fans on this brand? Okay. So this is actually going to be the first episode that's going to be live on the Peacock Network. So if you're going to be switching over, now would be the time. I know it just getting ready to end in the US. It'll be getting ready to end here soon in the UK. I know there's going to be a little bit of cross-platforming and stuff that I was reading about earlier, just before the network completely goes away. So hopefully you get your subscriptions taken care of so you can watch Fastlane this weekend and then get into WrestleMania April 11th, 10th and 11th. Right, 2-day weekend for WrestleMania again this year with fans in Florida. It's gonna be dope. I'm hoping Shane jumps off that pirate ship because it'll be 100% worth it.
That's what I'm waiting for.
He is definitely jumping off something.
Dude, I mean, with that impromptu, he's got to be coming off the pirate ship, right? No cage match, no randomness, right? He's got to be coming off that pirate ship.
It's either he's jumping off the pirate ship or jumping off of his ego, which is a little bit higher.
just as big, right?
Yeah.
Jumping off of that. Speaking of,
all right, so
Peacock,
with FastLane, right? We'll go through the matches we've got coming up, including one that we heard was just added tonight. And we have another special consideration that we're trying to keep on top of so we can run it with you guys once we know who the special enforcer will be for a match coming up. So first up on the rundown, we've got the women's tag team title match, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. I'm really looking forward to this match. I like the Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair tag team. I don't think that you could get a better, more established female wrestler and one of the best up and comers coming out of developmental NXT and everything for WWE. Man, I like Shayna. It's unfortunate who her tag team partner is for this time being that they're doing. What do you guys think? Let's go with Cody. Cody first. He is our wrestling genius, he says, right? Cody, what do you think of this women's tag team title match?
Man, I'm torn because we just saw it a week ago. So it's like we're doing it again, and right now tonight they're both fighting each other again. So I feel like we're seeing it a lot leading into this. But it's the typical storyline that they've done with Austin and Shawn whenever they won the tag titles. They've done it with a few other people. They just did it on NXT. I don't see Bianca and Sasha winning it. It just doesn't make any sense. It may be a cool little storyline, but there's really nothing that adds to their feud. They're going to have some kind of miscommunication. They're going to lose. Nia and them are going to win. The only way they don't
Hot take.
They don't have any other title matches. I mean, they need to add more titles, I think, to WrestleMania. So I don't want to put the women's titles with the world title already, because then you're just taking another chance to show off more women wrestlers if you take those titles off of Nia. Sorry. So hopefully they stay that route. I'm going to go with the champs to retain here. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Corey, what do you think, man? What are you thinking about this?
I'm thinking Sasha and Bianca are going to win.
See, I'm backing that
But
too.
it'll blow off a couple weeks before Mania. They'll lose the titles to somebody.
No, we have 3 weeks to Mania.
Right. Next pay-per-view's Mania. So I mean, you're feeding the pay-per-view at this point, right? As us smarks like to feel that we know all this inside information, you know what I mean, and how they're going to run the programs, right? Inside terms. So I mean, I'm with you though. I mean, I think Banks and Belair are definitely probably going to be pulling this one out, but I mean, you can't just have them pick it up and then drop it right before Mania, right? But we got 2 days of Mania, you know what I mean? So Nick, what do you think? You think that we're going to be running this on a Saturday or possibly a pre-show if they run that? What do you think?
I mean, good Lord, are we doing a pre-show on another night, or what are we doing?
Man, it's WWE, right? They got to give you 17 hours of WrestleMania coverage.
Yeah, they do.
I'm kind of with Cody. I don't think it makes any sense at this point because we're so close to Mania. I think if we were to run this program a little bit earlier, maybe, but I don't know, because it's such a late draw. Because I mean, Shayna and Nia were just defending the titles on NXT as well. Like I think they're just trying to bolster them as a bigger team so that they can lose them at Mania. And I don't think they're going to lose them now because they need to start the program to further the narrative of Sasha and Bianca. So to do that, like Cody said, there's got to be some sort of issue that happens to create that. So I think that Nia and Sasha, or Nia and Shayna, walk out of there still title holders. That's my opinion.
While messing with Sasha and
the only thing I would add that I would like to see, just something personally, right now there's no clear challengers, I think, going into WrestleMania for the champs. If they retain, I'd like to see the Iconics get back together and let the Iconics go after them. I'm just saying, they're the most exciting thing in wrestling. Screw that,
man. And to put and to come into that point as well, as awesome as that would like to see, we know how WWE gets with tag teams that the fans start to like. You know what I mean? They instantly think these tag teams are beyond the belts, like what they did with Enzo and Cass. You know what I mean? And I mean, FTR got some good titles and stuff like that before making their jump. But like Enzo and Cass was like white hot, man, white hot, 0 title wins. You know what I mean? So it's the same with the Iconics. Why split them up? That's what I like, kind of like what AEW is doing with like the Young Bucks or their tag division, is let these tag teams run individual matches, bro. Like, everybody knows that you're a tag team. Not every match you're in needs to be a tag match.
Yeah.
Let the Iconics be a tag team, but still let Peyton and everything, let them do their run. If you're going to give her a shot to the moon, let her run that shot, but keep the tag team together that way, because that's how you build superstars. Right.
So,
you know what I mean? Give everybody as much face time as you can.
I know I gave my prediction, but I think one thing we're underlooking, and I was hoping that one of y'all would bring it up, is Asuka has been really involved with these tag team champions lately. And there's not really a clear decision on who is going to face her at Mania. So it is a possibility that they do take these tag titles off of them and then put them into like a 4-way match or some kind of 6-woman. I don't know what was the whole championship scramble or something, and you get Asuka, you get Charlotte, you get the former tag champions, and you bring in Rhea Ripley. You put 5 of them together into a championship scramble match, and you get to showcase all 5 of them at Mania. Just something spitballing off the top of my head.
It's a good idea, and it's a good way to showcase a lot of talent in a time that usually not everybody gets it outside of some random.
And with 2 nights,
if they want to fit more people on the show, so.
No, for sure. I mean, you got 2 days to fill in like 20,000 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, you got a whole week.
Yeah.
You're going bell to bell,
Oh,
Monday to
we got
Monday,
8 days.
possibly
Nah.
Monday to Tuesday.
Tuesday. NXT
Right.
is going to be moved by then.
So it is a
NXT will
confirm,
be on
right? So the
Tuesday.
confirms there. So
Yep.
you're going
Yeah.
Monday to the following Tuesday, straight wrestling. Insane. That's an insane timeline. So, all right,
is an
boys, we're going to
insane
bump this
timeline.
along a little bit. We're going to switch a little bit off. I'm going to come off a title match, and we're going to talk about this Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Okay, what do we think there? I'm a big fan of Drew since he's made the comeback, being world champion at the past and stuff. I know the situation going on with The Miz. You know, also a big fan of Sheamus. It's nice and cool to see him in a picture, you know, without being, I don't know. I don't want to say a jobber. That's not what he is, right? But I feel like Sheamus is almost like that gatekeeper status. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Nothing crazy above mid to high card, right? But definitely gatekeeping. And so to see him on this platform with Drew, I think it's a godsend. You know, I don't think Sheamus gets enough credit, or every time that he does, he always gets hurt or something like that. And it always kind of stifles the climb, as it were. So what do we think? Klaus, what do you think on this one, man?
I mean, personally, I'm hoping they run McIntyre and Lashley here coming up soon. And so, you know, but at the same time, like you said, like I feel like every time they start to push Sheamus, they do something to then push down Sheamus. So it would be nice to let him get over and try to push him into a bigger role, maybe a title, you know, shot, something. I mean, even if they pull a 3-way, you know, Lashley, Sheamus, and McIntyre, like I'd be totally up for that. But I do believe that they still believe in McIntyre as one of the top bills, and so I think McIntyre takes it, you know, this weekend. So
yeah, for sure. Corey, what do you think, man?
Man, I've watched a little bit from it, and it's just two hard hitting guys just beating each other up, and it's been fantastic. And as much as I'd like to see Sheamus win, I just don't see McIntyre losing.
Man, not right now. You know, rocket ship push, right? The man
yeah. Even with the loss, it's still a push.
Right. Cody, input, man. What you think, brother?
Man, I don't know. There's been all the rumors that, you know, Brock Lesnar could be coming back and trying to get a 4-way match going on. And if you're going to do a 4-way with Keith Lee nowhere in signed, Sheamus is the obviously other replacement. But for the longest time, I felt they wanted Drew to have his WrestleMania moment. They wanted Drew to have his win at Mania, so they put the title on Lashley. The problem is, people love Lashley, man. People want to see that dude succeed. People are behind him right now. And if you go that route with just a single competition, I really think you're going to have to make Drew go heel. I don't think there's going to be any other way to go this route.
But man, how do you push that with Lashley being the world champ? You know, or being, you know what I'm saying, with that running all that and stuff like that. I mean,
honestly, I think it comes with this match. I know these two have shown respect before to each other, but I think this match is going to be so hard hitting and so brutal, more than what we have seen from it. Like even on top of what we have seen from them already, because they've already had some great matches on Raw. But I think it's going to go so far that Drew's going to have to take it so far to be able to beat him. And it's not going to be a full heel turn. It's just going to be a little something subtle that may start it. And maybe that's something that he that Sheamus mentions in the next week on Raw. And it kind of like plants that seed, and he starts turning Drew a little bit more and more to his side. And it's like, hey, you're going up against him. You're going to need extra people. You can't do this alone. We have this respect after what we just did to each other last night or at FastLane. Let me have your back. And he slowly starts taking on that heel persona. And then you're going to have that one-on-one, and Lashley will be the face, and Lashley comes out of Mania. So I'm still going to go Drew here. I just think he's going to build a line of respect with Sheamus, and he's going to come heel out of this.
Start pushing.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's why I think they could do the triple threat also, because then you don't have to have Lashley drop the title, because you can have somewhere in there where the beef between McIntyre and Sheamus kind of takes over those two, and you know Lashley can pull out the win because of that, and you can move forward from there. So I think they have a few options built in to keep the title on Lashley, or to give it back to McIntyre. Like I think they've got this is probably the hardest one to figure out where they're going.
And that's the
at this
best thing
point.
about it. It is the hardest one to pick right now.
I mean, McIntyre and Sheamus can end up being a tag team.
At the
Yeah.
end of
Who
it.
knows what could come
that's
from
a possibility there, especially if you get the nod that Cody was saying, like with a Brock return,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or something like that. So, man, I mean, we'll see. I see Drew definitely pulling this one out, and like we were saying, it's hard to know where they're going with this Drew and Lashley stuff because it's really awesome to see Bobby Lashley like finally get that recognition. You know what I mean?
And he
Being
looks
that guy,
amazing as champion. Like that
straight
belt
up,
looks
like
amazing
100%
on that dude's waist.
can be that guy, you know.
Yeah.
But like we've discussed in private and stuff like that, man, it's that time. Like it's just wish they gave Drew that moment when it wasn't in front of nobody. You know, so do you give him the moment to have the WrestleMania moment, right? Or you just let Lashley run that piece until SummerSlam, you know what I mean? And then kind of set this up for the summer, next giant pay-per-view, right? And then that's where we start kind of
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. Like, do you keep that push going?
Right.
You keep
I say let Lashley run
going?
it all the way till WrestleMania here in Dallas.
Lashley shouldn't lose until like SummerSlam or something.
I mean, I feel like if like Cody said, the rumors are true and there's a possibility Brock does come back, that you have to let Lashley run that, because I would much rather see Lashley and Brock, you know, as a big time match. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest hitting matches we'll see in a long time. Like that'll be crazy. So guess we'll see.
Gold. Okay, so fantastic. Now, next up, I'm a little surprised that WWE pulled out a match like this, but I get how it's a cool way to intertwine with things like that. We're going to talk this intergender match, Randy Orton versus Little Miss Alexa Bliss. Okay, do we see a Fiend return on Sunday? Right, obviously, because nothing against WWE and WWE creative team, right? But we all kind of have a feeling we know where this is going to go, because they're not truly going to allow what would be like a awesome intergender match like what we used to get in, say, TNA or even in the past, right? So do we get Randy Orton about to boot Alexa Bliss and then lights go out, pop comes the Fiend, right? How do we feel? I'm realizing this thing is going no contest, definitely with the Fiend reveal, right? Anybody else? Let's start with Class. What do you think, man?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we all assume the Fiend is coming back. It's been long enough. They've been still running this Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton program. I mean, if he's not coming back, then really, what are we doing? Why are we still messing around with this? I mean, I guess if we're doing the, Bliss switch where she becomes the other person, for all we know, maybe she's super strong and they do some weird stuff like that. I think if we weren't getting back to, well, honestly, because this isn't Mania, there's a chance that they could do this cinematically like they have been doing with her, where, they kind of filter in some stuff to change the dynamic. So, I mean, I don't really know. I'll say Fiend comes. I do believe Fiend comes back, and but as the shirt I'm repping, I still believe Orton walks out the winner. So
I mean, right. I can see that. Man, I don't know. Orton walking out the winner. I mean, I feel we're looking at possibly a DQ situation, right? So if anything, if we get a full match. Corey, how do you feel? Possible Fiend return, intergender match. How do you feel about that?
I don't think it's going to happen. Like, something's going to happen right off the bell. Fiend's definitely coming back, and it's going to set up Randy and Fiend at Mania. But I don't think there's going to be any finish in this match. I agree with Randy setting up for the punt. Lights go out.
Because there's no way they're going to let him punt Alexa Bliss to the fucking moon. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Man, that'd be a great visual.
5 foot, 100 pounds, man.
Bro, he would boot her to the Jumbotron, son. He would boot her to the Jumbotron if he kicked the hell out of her. Cody, what do you think?
I'm on the same page. Fiend's got to come back. You got to start building that actual match for WrestleMania. Which, if you all remember the last WrestleMania they had, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, but the worms on the mat. But anyway, I don't even think this match is going to have an ending. It's not going to be a DQ. It's not going to be any kind of ending. There's going to be a no contest. maybe a punch setup. The lights go out as he runs towards them, and boom, there's the Fiend. Yeah, no winner. I'm just gonna go. There's not gonna be a winner. There's so much stuff they can do because of the supernatural. So they do have a few things they could build up with Alexa tricking and using the magic before he actually shows back up. So I do see it being entertaining. There's not going to be a match. There's not
more cinematic than anything else for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt. Which kind of sucks because it would be dope to see a cool intergender match. You know what I mean? If they'd actually set up somebody who could actually run it, run Charlotte and Randy. What's up? You know what I mean? Run something like that. Set that match up. Give me that. At least those two can go. Insane. That would be freaking sweet. Freaking sweet. Okay.
Just put Randy on a tether, and that way, if she throws a punch, he'll fly back 26 feet.
That's right.
Just make it real supernatural, like real crazy.
Okay, let's jump into another title match here. We've got the Intercontinental title match, Big E versus the new gimmicked Apollo Crews. Okay, I'm running with my boy Big E, slapping fucking breast meats. You know what I mean? Big breast meats. I'm running my boy Big E on this one. I like Apollo Crews. I see this is just two big men just slapping meats, as Big E would like to say. I don't see it kind of going any other way. I'm not too sure how I feel about this Apollo Crews gimmick, which kind of sucks because I was sold on Apollo Crews ever since I saw the UA Nation stuff in the Indies and thought any man that big that can do a standing moonsault and bench press and everything that he does, I'm all in for it, right? I'm a little upset with how he's been handled, but that's for another episode here. So Apollo Crews, Big E, we're going to hit the Midwest. Corey, what do you think? How you looking?
I love Apollo Crews from the UA Nation gimmick, like in the Indies, even with like the smiling, like happy. But man, I'm going Big E. Big E played for Iowa Hawkeyes, bro.
I should have known. I didn't even think about that. Obviously, some hometown touching there.
Hometown
I see that.
He loves Iowa.
Right. No, I'm in on that. I see the Hawkeyes. So, all right. So you're going Big E. Cody, what do you think, man? Apollo Crews, Big E, IC title.
Man, this is probably the hardest one because out of everything on the card, I'm usually this person's going to win. Even Drew and Sheamus. My first choice was Sheamus immediately. This is one I hesitated on. I posted it on Twitter earlier. It's kind of really, I really, really, really want to go with Apollo because he's been losing to Big E, but now he's got this new gimmick. He needs to get it over. But then I remember what they're doing with Mustafa Ali and how the Retribution hasn't done crap since they became a thing. So, man, I don't know.
We're going to put a pin in that and come back to Retribution because
that's a whole
and nothing against Mustafa Ali and stuff, but
I
think we could have found a bigger and badder leader for a group. I guess it's supposed to be like a bunch of smaller people, you know what I mean, or whatever. But I think we could have found a slightly better person to be running a faction. Nothing against Mustafa Ali, but everything against Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm thinking, with him having seconds and Big E not having any seconds with him, maybe that comes into play. Perhaps they're able. I don't know why WWE want to take the top off of Big E when he's hot right now and then just give it back to him at Mania. But that does give a heel chasing or a face chasing a heel going into Mania. Gives Big E a big moment in front of a big crowd. So as much as I don't want to go against Big E, I'm going to go Apollo Crews because I just don't see how they can beat him again. Man. I don't know.
Just for the swerve at Mania, we're going to go big Apollo Crews over Big E is what you're saying, just so we get a swerve and a Big E title.
Because, who else is Big E going to fight at Mania?
I mean, true.
They haven't
He's going to fight Woods and Cove.
Like, there's a lot of people out there. Him and Daniel Bryan, him and Cesaro would be incredible matches. But
hold on though, because that'll lead into our next match with the Daniel Bryan stuff. Okay, so we're going to see on that. Put a pin in that thought. Let me jump to the Class real quick. Class, what do you think? Apollo Crews and Big E, two big men slapping breast meats right over this IC title. What are we thinking?
I mean, I don't see the point of taking it off of Big E right now, especially not Kofi early 2000s. That's now Apollo Crews.
They definitely found Kofi's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apollo found Kobe's vaccine.
he was in the yeah, it came right out of the back, out of a suitcase somewhere. I mean, I like what they're doing with Apollo, but I still think, I'm sorry to anybody who doesn't believe this, but I still think Apollo is just a mid-carder. Big E's getting a push to be, a superstar. That's the only reason you break him out of the New Day, thing, is to really give him the push as a superstar, because, he's good on the mic, he's talented, it's warranted, he's big energy, he's a big dude, like in stature and everything. So, my hopes looking forward is that possibly we're flipping Keith Lee to a more heel role, and at some point we're bringing him in to feud with Big E, because I would love to see. I would love to see Big E and him. The draft should be coming up here soon, shouldn't? I mean, what day is this? So, I mean,
and he
right.
made. Sorry, Cody. Keith Lee made a statement out actually today talking about how he was going to be, that he hears the support, he hears the crying out from the WWE universe, as it were, right?
Yeah,
and so that when he comes back, it'll be a big deal and full of love and positivity and everything. But so luckily, WWE's not kicking him to the curb with whatever is going on in his personal life. And he's not taking anything beyond some necessary time off, because Cody and I have seen Keith Lee here in the local scene and stuff with Shane Taylor and those guys, man. And that guy in person is way better mind blowing than what we get on TV. It's crazy when we see like that. Same with Raymond Rowe or Eric, you know what I mean, and stuff with the Viking Raiders and stuff.
Yeah.
We were able to see a lot of those guys before they made it to the scene, and so. Seeing Keith Lee, believe, right? Believe in Keith Lee, man. That's the biggest thing we can say.
None of us.
Hopefully, speedy recovery with whatever's going on.
None of us.
It's believing.
None of us want to see Big E, or none of us want to see Keith Lee at Andrade. So,
man,
hopefully he's coming back.
Look at Andrade staring at the sun now, thinking he could sleep his way into this nice contract.
Yeah, that didn't work well for him.
He couldn't learn English fast enough, man. Nothing, and that ain't a shot at anything but that was his issue, right? That he just couldn't, I guess, get the language fast enough, because they were trying to work with him. He was getting that monster push, but
Brock Lesnar doesn't ever fucking talk. They need to get over that. Like, if they have Heyman talking for him, they had old girl talking for Andrade.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar is.
I understand, but that dude
stop defending your boy, Cody.
Power, the moves that dude can do. That dude's a mega star. And just because he was learning English, he was cutting English promos just because it wasn't what they wanted. Eddie Guerrero didn't cut the clearest promos either when they brought him to WWE, and they made his accent a lot more thicker. But that dude,
but he was Eddie Guerrero,
unfreaking touchable.
Already
That's the closest to Eddie Guerrero we will see. I guarantee you. That dude.
I'm about to cut. I'm about to cut Cody out of this. That's a terrible take,
drop, son. All right.
That's a terrible take.
Again, we're gonna bump that to another episode. We're trying to keep it on fast.
More like
this one.
More like on drop day.
On drop day.
On drop day contract.
So before we get to the Universal title, okay. Before we get into the Universal title, we're going to jump into a match that we heard was just added on SmackDown, and that's Nakamura versus Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. I'm in on this, man. I love both of these wrestlers. Seth Rollins is probably my number one wrestler right now in my mind. I don't think anybody is doing it better than him. I don't care the brand. I don't care who they are, right? The Monday Night Messiah is hands down a godsend, I feel, to wrestling and stuff. I don't think anybody's doing it to him. So with them bringing in Shinsuke a long time ago, I think that is a fantastic move from WWE. I don't like how he's been handled from time to time, but him being with Rollins going into FastLane, I'm all in. I hope we get something more at WrestleMania. I don't even have a pick for this match. I just think it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm going to roll with my boy Rollins, right? Because loyalty or to death. Right, but what do you guys think? We're gonna start with Big Clizzle. Clizzle, what do you think? Nakamura versus Seth Rollins.
To be real honest, I feel like this match got added because Seth Rollins has a lot of heat right now. People are digging him being back, the suits, I mean, it's not a new character, but it's slightly different than when he left. I think he's the attention he's garnering is back to being Seth Rollins level attention, and he was kind of missing that towards the end of that Messiah run, the original one, before he left for the baby. So I think this is a filler match to bridge them and Cesaro, him and Cesaro. And so I think clearly Rollins takes this match, no problem, just to build Rollins back up to who we all know who he is, and get him in that match with Cesaro. And I mean, just as a bigger stature heel going into it, maybe they even. I don't think they let him just run over Shinsuke, but I mean, then again, maybe this is like one of those, where he just kind of runs raw on Shinsuke, and Cesaro has to help him, and it furthers that program. So
I can see a Cesaro run in. I'm down with that. I love Cesaro. Yeah. I think that's another person we'll get into at a later date as far as somebody who's underutilized by the brand. All right, but we're gonna keep it going. Cody, let's go to you, man. Knock versus Rollins. How are we looking?
Man, Rollins. I love Nakamura. I'm glad they were giving him a chance. I would love to see this on a WrestleMania stage for a world title, but
we get a triple threat.
B level pay-per-view. It's going to be a good match. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a good match. Rollins is going to come out on top. Like Nick said, I think they're going to run with Rollins and they're going to run with Cesaro, and that's going to be an incredible match at the pay-per-view as well at WrestleMania.
Man, I want to get this three-way, man. Don't give me a Cesaro and Knock in there too. Let's do Rollins, Knock, and Cesaro. Like I said, I feel Cesaro's underutilized. I'm all in. What's up?
It'll be good, Corey.
So, Corey, what do you think?
I'm a huge Nakamura guy. Love the guy. Charisma for days, but completely misused lately. But
the last year and a half. What are you doing?
Since he came over.
Right. You mid-carded one of the best Japanese wrestlers to ever come into your brand. You know what I mean? Short of Jushin, Jushin Liger and shit. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't talk today apparently, but
I see that. Good thing you're the host.
I know. Good thing I'm the host. I know all these wrestlers' names.
Mark, I got to go with Seth Rollins. My boy's from Davenport, Iowa.
We should have known if there's any Iowa tie, it's going to be an Iowa pick.
I'm going.
He's like AJ Styles ate corn in his chili one time. I got to go with him.
Yo, for real. I just, like, we can all agree that this is the reason they added this late is because they want to. It's a pump for Seth Rollins. Why else do you add this
straight up
basically 2 nights before?
You only had 5 matches set up for this pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, we have 5 matches on the run sheet here. One we're about to get into. So, I mean, granted, they had to jump something, right? Are you running a pre-show? What are you saying?
Not.
I'm honestly FastLane, man. They're going to run something, right? And I'm sure we'll get some random tag title match from the New Day or something like that. It'll be added.
I'm honestly more interested in seeing what Seth Rollins wears. The suits have been on point. I'm interested in seeing what his FastLane suit will look like.
That's all. I'm looking forward to these Mania intros, bro. You know what I'm saying? Come on, they came out of a box of cereal and shit. How do you get it?
I wish we were getting Cross and Balor on freaking.
Well, hey, I'm sure that'll be coming up, but I bet we'll get something like that with coming up on the NXT takeovers, which we're going to totally discuss again later episode, right? Because that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just a quick before we start this main event talk. Edge did just beat Jey Uso, so Edge is going to be the special enforcer for Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns.
So there we are. We're going to head into this next one. Hang on. We're going to head into this next Universal title match, right? The man, the big dog on the yard, Roman Reigns versus Captain America himself, Daniel Bryan, right? With now special enforcer, okay, Edge, right? One, how do we feel about Edge and all this comeback and the push? And we'll also talk about possible Christian Cage jumping brands, right? Talk about semi-shocker. I always see the headline from Corey. So Roman versus DB. Obviously, the choice in the WWE universe is going to be Roman Reigns with the mouthpiece of Paul Heyman, right? So do we run this through WrestleMania? Do we get another rematch? Do we get Roman versus Edge? And that's why Edge has got this set up. even though the Usos would have been dope to see. As much as I love Edge, let's get some of these guys some FaceTime and shit, right? Obviously, I'm going to roll with Roman Reigns on this one. How do we feel? Let's go Cody to finish it off, the wrestling genius in this last round of Hot Talk.
I mean, there's no way they're going to beat Roman. He is just no way in hell he's losing here. Now, what they do at Mania, they could set up something between Edge and Daniel Bryan to lead out of Mania on the back half of Mania, and that wouldn't be a bad setup either. I wouldn't mind seeing them two come out of Mania.
Edge and Daniel Bryan would be a dope match.
You know, whether Edge wins or lose, depending on what happens tomorrow night, if Edge accidentally costs Daniel Bryan has a, hey, I want a title shot. Or even if he lost, you know, he's coming after him. I just don't see, I don't really know where they go with this. Honestly, I haven't kept up with this storyline a whole lot on SmackDown. But I just don't see him beating Roman. That's just the bottom line. He is their top of the line guy. He's going into WrestleMania. I don't think he's lost since he came back. I don't even know when the last time he lost his.
It was pretty teeth, man. It's those pretty teeth, right?
Bro, he even beat Cancer, fam, so he's on a fucking roll.
No, I mean, you're undefeated.
I mean,
him and Cancer. Oh, you know what I'm saying? 1-0. You know what I'm saying over Cancer.
That man is on top. Man is on top right now.
That's ridiculous. I don't see him losing. I don't know where they go with Daniel Bryan. I personally want to see Daniel Bryan show up and challenge Pete Dunne on NXT. Because Pete Dunne's been talking about I'm the best technical wrestler in the world. I challenge anybody. Give me Daniel Bryan and Pete Dunne. I really don't care what happens in this match because it doesn't really matter. Roman Reigns is winning.
Okay, let's put a pin in that Pete Dunne and Daniel Bryan conversation. I like where that's going. Let's go with Corey in the Midwest. Hi, Corey, you're on the line. Let's see what.
Hey, thanks, Kenny. Roman Reigns,
long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. Roman Reigns, no chance. Like no chance for Daniel Bryan.
You don't
I think
so?
It's gonna be Edge is gonna screw Bryan over somehow.
Accidental. I don't think it's on purpose.
So I'm gonna put a pin in that. Let's piggyback off that real quick. Daniel Bryan for the win with an Edge disqualification on Roman Reigns, right? So something's gonna happen. Bryan's gonna get the win, no title change, as there'll be some type of disqualification. How do you feel about that?
Not bad. I like that.
You know why I like that? Because that's why I was gonna say. That's why I like that, because I think they're pushing to set up a triple threat. That's what I think they're aiming to do here is pull. I don't know why else you randomly bring in Edge as a special guest referee when clearly Edge and Roman's already set up for Mania, unless you're trying to draw Bryan into the match also and do the triple threat. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't know how well Edge and Roman would be just on their own. Bringing in Daniel Bryan, kind of gives him the ability to lead that match. And you can still put Roman over, like you said, possibility Daniel Bryan wins on a technicality, or Edge screws Bryan. And one way or another, we find out that they're now adding Edge to the title match. And I think it's a good play. Why not? It gets Bryan into Mania. 3 people everybody would love to see. It gives Ryan. Okay, so because one of the biggest things I've thought about is how they're pushing Reigns as this heel, and that's a perfect way to continue to push him as this heel. Is a perfect heel would let those two fight at Mania. Like, I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm gonna let those two guys beat the hell out of each other, and then I'm going to swoop in when I need to because I'm the champ. So there's a lot of layers to this. I mean, I know. It doesn't seem like it, but this whole setup is an onion. There's a ton of layers for what they can do here. I mean, so Paul Heyman already said somebody else is come. They got reinforcements, so I'm wondering if the other Usos coming back also. So there's a lot going on right now with this setup, man.
You give me Jimmy back, right? Jimmy and Jay come back, team up, like the whole family, the head of the table business, or do we have a Rock interference? And set up the Rock versus Roman.
No way.
That ain't happening. Because Rock ain't. They're going to do Rock and Roman in Hollywood. That's 2 years from now. They wanted to do that in Hollywood. But the problem is if they do bring, well, not even a problem. I wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy back because that would add to their collection for sure.
Yeah.
But that pin that we put in earlier, Christian Cage went to AEW. We're missing out on the Usos versus Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
Which would have been great for FastLane, but we're not getting that because he's gone. Now we're going to get this. So we're going to have to do with it. I wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy come back. You have Jay trying to interfere on the side of Roman to help him beat Daniel. Edge gets involved. Edge gets I don't know.
Spears D-Bry. He's spearing D-Bry.
Yeah, and then you got Edge hits Jay. Jimmy comes in to help the assist. Boom! Now you have the entire collection together. And then we built.
What if they
there.
try to bring like the Briscoes in or something? As
It's not a bad
fucking swerve.
It's not a bad setup to think that maybe you have a 3-man line where you have, Roman in the middle. Here's Edge. Daniel Bryan's behind him. Jimmy finally shows back up after all this time, gets Roman out of the ring. Edge doesn't see it. Spear on Bryan, and now we're leading into Mania on this whole on the back of all this. I mean, like I said, look at what we just did. There's nobody wants to believe it because nobody ever wants to give Roman credit, but there's a lot of layers to what they're doing with all of this. Yeah. There's a ton, and then there's a lot of directions they can go. This is one of the more fascinating things they can do.
And as you said earlier, being a triple threat match isn't a bad idea because we know Edge can go. Well, he just had his first match on SmackDown. It was a decent match, but most of his stuff has been Royal Rumble or has been the cinematical match. We haven't actually seen him in a normal setting in a long WrestleMania style match. Having Daniel Bryan, who's a great worker, in the mix would take the pressure off Edge a little bit, but I don't know if it takes away from the match or not. It might. It might not.
It won't take away from it. I mean, it doesn't make Edge and Roman carry the match for half an hour. You know what I mean? We got a 20-minute time limit match here, right? Or you're not going to require a 50-year-old wrestler, right, to carry a 30-minute match. You know what I mean?
The reason why I hate
Roman, right? But
the reason why I hate it because I want Daniel Bryan versus Pete Dunne. God damn it! And they're not going to do that 3 nights before.
Man, we'll hope. Daniel Bryan's loyal, bro. He ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? They'll probably pump him wherever they need. Just like Finn was saying with NXT. Eventually, he'll be down there with NXT UK or something, and he'll be like, "Oh, I thought it was like a 3-month stint." Now Daniel Bryan's in NXT UK, right? Oh, God, with some weird ass accent.
Him and Walter. Oh my God! Do you understand how bad his chest would look against Walter?
Man, Walter wants shit up. Walter wants his chest up. He don't play.
What if this is the Brock return though during this match?
Man, well, so I mean, who knows, right? Obviously, we're gonna get a Brock return at some point, but do you save it? Do you put it in a FastLane, or do you give a Brock return to WrestleMania? Actually, now that that just came out of my mouth,
why would you do it why would you do it at FastLane and say Brock's the third man?
So, nah, man, you're gonna for something like that, like you know how Vince is, bro. Brock is a draw, man. He's in a main attraction. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna run this month. Let this month play out, and you're going to bring him back after the Raw after WrestleMania, and you're going to book it for the next pay-per-view.
I don't think you want to bring him back to go against Roman again. I really think if you're bringing him back, it's either for McIntyre or Lashley. That's the route you got to go.
That's all day. Right? You build Lashley to crush the beast.
So right? you got 2 nights to fill though. A title each night?
Nah. Okay, so yeah, you're going to do a title each night. Roman is going to main event night 2.
Yeah, that'll be the Sunday.
Personally, Sasha should get a chance to main event night 1, and you should put, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't.
I like where you're going with this.
Drew loses as a heel. Bobby retains. You go into Monday Night Raw. Bobby is out there with his crew, and that music hits. The only problem is how do people react to Brock Lesnar coming back? Because at this point,
tons of
Bobby, every other time he has come back, they have absolutely
loved him. I don't think they will ever boo when he pops. It'll be a pop every time.
But why would they do it at Raw though when they ain't gonna have fans at Raw? Well, they got fans at Mania.
Who said they're not gonna have fans at Raw?
That's true, dude.
I mean,
especially they're all after Mania.
They're not doing fans at Propaganda. They're doing fans at Mania.
Okay, and then the reason why you bring him back at Raw instead of Mania is so that you can pipe in the boos. So when he comes back,
then you can control the narrative.
And Lashley stays your face.
That's why you're the genius.
That's why he is the genius. Well, that's why Cody is the genius. I think that's the thing. We're gonna put this in every time Cody says genius. Right,
I feel like Cody should start wearing the hat, like the fucking genie hat.
Yeah, as soon as we go to him, he's wearing that goofy ass genius.
He should have to wear that hat from here on out.
If I get this shit
plus,
right,
it takes the glare off of the camera, so I can see better.
Hey, I've always got to work on this lighting. You know what I'm saying? Powder up the genius.
If I predict this right,
you gotta put it on.
Where's your makeup girl, man? Like we all got makeup girls. Why ain't yours touch up?
Mine was taking a shower, not in the middle of wrestling because she hates that shit.
Nice.
Maybe playing Animal Crossing.
There you go.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tighten this up real quick. We're going to end it on final thoughts, hopes that we hope to happen, right? We already know all of our predictions and everything. So let's go around the horn real quick. Hopefully some surprises. Let's give our final thoughts on the pay-per-view heading into WrestleMania. We're going to wrap this bitch up like a Christmas present, okay? So let's start over here. Corey, final thoughts, FastLane. What do we hope? What do we think? What do you love?
I just hope it's going to be a good pay-per-view. I'm hoping for the Brock thing, but I mean, it is what it is. It's like, it's the pay-per-view for WrestleMania. Let's get some shit set up. Let's have a good Mania.
Corey's official thought. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I like
it's hard to beat that.
Cody,
I don't know if I want to go.
Wrestling genius. What are final thoughts on
Swami?
Man, I'm glad that it's only 5 or 6 matches. Hopefully it's going to be a short pay-per-view, only 2.5 hours. I hope it's good. I hope it's entertaining from start to finish, which, hey, all credit to them. Their past pay-per-views all have been good this year. So, I can't doubt them. I got my faith in WWE. I hope for a good match. And
whoa. Hot take. Cody's got his faith in WWE. Let's back that up. Mark that. Right, 4650, 4645. Cody has a hot take and loves WWE. You heard it here first. Cody has faith in WWE.
I'm just trying to get your PS5 until WrestleMania. That's all I'm saying.
You're the one that owns the PlayStation, son. You lost it for my man up top, who we're going to next. First, we're going to get on that too. Hot takes. Nick, how do you feel about Cody losing your PlayStation 5? And how do you feel about FastLane predictions and hopes?
I feel like Walmart deserves me to burn them down. Sorry, Corey. No, that's your spiel, but
what it is.
But I mean, the best thing is, it's short, a few matches, but all of the matches have top tier talent. They should all be very good matches. There's no filler. This should be one of the better lead-ins to Mania. Hopefully, we start to form out some lanes because. Especially in these title pictures, it's kind of hard to tell where they're trying to go. But awesome. I think it is. But at the same time, you kind of want to know what you're looking at. But I think it'll be good. I mean, I'm ready for it. I think it'll be a good time. It won't be. I'm just happy it's shorter. We don't need a 4-hour FastLane.
I think it's a pointless pay-per-view, but we're gonna have it. So I'm hoping for the best.
Whoa. The same person who just said earlier that it is not a pointless pay-per-view, it is the pay-per-view heading into WrestleMania. Heading into WrestleMania, and now he just said it was a pointless pay-per-view.
And that's the genius, huh? All right.
That's what makes him a genius.
Pay-per-view to this guy right now.
Right. He said earlier he don't want to know what happens in the group chat. Right. He don't want to let him know what happens in the group chat. Like he called it. He did not call it pointless earlier, but he called it pointless to our Midwest homie.
I was trying to make him feel bad for not keeping up with the product and making it sound like it was more important than it is.
You just said earlier you didn't know about certain things on SmackDown, my guy.
I don't think it's going to be that great. I don't think it's needed. Like, why do you have to have a pay-per-view 3 weeks before WrestleMania?
I think we're going to challenge Cody's genius status, boys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he needs to take a Menza.
Is
there a wrestling Menza? A Renza?
Him and Jim Cornette are the ones that are going to have to run this together. So
yeah.
All right, so let's end it like this, boys. Another salute, right? I got a little bit of whiskey in my glass. We don't charge with an uncharged glass.
I got a tiny bit because I was drinking the whole time.
Right there, a little bit of whiskey, all right? So cheers to that, boys.
Here's the wrestling.
Right. Here's the wrestling. A fantastic episode here of Clash and Splash with your boys.
Episode number 1.
go.
Episode number 1 in the bag. Holler at I Am Class on Twitter. Holler at your boy at Cody Lee on Twitter. Holler at the Midwest homie Corey Stahl on Twitter. Holler at your boy Kenny D on Twitter. I got tons of cool stories. You can see it in the name, fam. Cool story, Kenny D. That's it for us. Y'all have a fantastic night.
One
Good
thing.
night.
Sweet. Peace.
What?
Adios.
I just closed it out, and y'all want to say one thing.